The ocean around the triangle is never still even on calm days. When the sun blazes overhead, the water feels wrong, waves roll in strange patterns, and the air tastes of metal, as if the sea itself is breathing in and out. Deep in its core, sailors talk of nights when the moon turns blood red, and the stars vanish, leaving only a vast black void above them, as if the triangle has swallowed the sky itself. Then come the sounds, faint at first like distant bells underwater, growing louder until they echo in the skull, a metallic chime that has no source. Some believe it is a call luring ships into the heart of the triangle, the same call that has been heard for hundreds of years, long before it had a name. Ancient maps mark the region with symbols of dragons and spirals, warnings that this sea is cursed and should never be crossed. There are accounts from early explorers who claimed to see lights moving beneath their ships, as if entire cities glowed on the ocean floor, streets of gold and silver stretching into the darkness before the lights winked out, leaving only the cold black water. One ship's log, recovered centuries later, tells of crewmen who went mad one by one after staring too long into the water, muttering in languages they did not know until they threw themselves overboard without a sound. Some survivors of the triangle describe losing all sense of direction, not just in space, but in time, the sun rising twice in one day, shadows moving the wrong way, their watches spinning backward, as if reality had torn and they were drifting through its broken edges. Others speak of being pursued by shadows beneath the wave, shapes that match their vessel's speed perfectly, never surfacing, never falling behind until the sea swallows everything whole. Even the clouds seem unnatural in the triangle, twisting into spirals that reach down like claws, storms that roar without wind, rain that falls in patterns like coded messages, impossible to read, but impossible to ignore. The deeper you go, the more the air feels heavy, pressing against your chest until every breath is a fight. Instruments fail, compasses die, radios turn to static, yet through the static sometimes voices emerge, calling names in tones too familiar to ignore. Sometimes the voices belong to the dead, pulling the living toward them. The triangle has no mercy and no pattern it chooses at will, taking the strong, the weak, the prepared, and the lost alike. The sea closes over them, erasing all trace, as if they had never been there at all. And the next morning the horizon is smooth and calm, hiding its hunger for the next soul that dares to cross its invisible border. The spiral grew wider, as if the ocean itself was opening its jaws, the water twisting faster and faster, pulling everything into its endless throat. Ships, buildings, and even whole peaks of mountains slid helplessly into the raging circle. The sky turned black with storm clouds, lightning tore across the heavens, striking the waves and illuminating the monstrous silhouette that began to rise from the abyss, eyes glowing like suns pierced through the darkness. Vast and merciless as the creature's form emerged, it was not a single being, but many shadows moving together, titans of the deep that had slept for ages, now awakened by the cycle of destruction. The waves obeyed them, bending to their will, each surge not random, but controlled, as if the ocean itself was their weapon. Survivors screamed, some worshipped, falling into the water willingly, others fled, climbing higher, though no height was enough, as the water rose to claim it all. Floating colonies burned as factions turned on one another, battles fought not with weapons but with sheer desperation. The smell of salt, blood and fire mixed into the air. Humanity was breaking. The last scientists tried to warn the world, scribbling messages carved into stone and metal to survive the flood, believing that if they could not live, their words must. Future storms raged across the globe, wind howled like demons and thunder split the sky. People huddled together praying, but prayers drowned beneath the roar of waves and the growls of titans rising further. Ruins of cities long forgotten surfaced for moments, glowing symbols etched into ancient stone before vanishing again, as if the sea was reminding humanity of civilizations lost before them. Whispers spread among survivors of a hidden truth, that this was not the first world to drown, that others had existed and fallen to the same fate. Every cycle claimed the earth, resetting it, cleansing it, and rebuilding it, only to repeat the horror again and again. The survivors on the last peaks looked into the abyss and knew the waves would not stop. The ocean would rise higher than the sky, and what lurked beneath would not rest until the world above was gone forever.